Oh my goodness! Take two, or is it three? Aberdeen were playing last night, which they gifted points to Celtic. They absolutely gifted points to Celtic. Well, they didn't gift points to Celtic, but Aberdeen have dropped more points now than they really need to be. If you look at these, yes, look at the league. Look at this. It's at 19,929. We are on the road to 20,000. If you haven't subscribed, please do it. It's completely free to subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a channel member, that's a completely different thing. So don't even talk about it. And look at this, the league. Yes, the league table. When we look at the league table this morning, after Aberdeen dropping points to lowly, what happened? What happened in Aberdeen? Your team imploded in the last minutes of the game. I switched it off and Aberdeen were winning 2-1 when I looked at the score lines, and I was like, well, that's that done and dusted. At least it keeps them there. But no, Aberdeen drop points. They draw. They draw against the bottom side of the table. Unbelievable scoreline last night, not only in Europe, but here in Scotland, which has helped Celtic. When it comes to the league table in Europe, Celtic are currently sitting down this morning in 18th position, due to a lot of the teams playing yesterday winning and going on a good run. God, did you see the Atalanta score? That puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? It puts everything into perspective when you see that Atalanta score from last night. We look at the Champions League table this morning. It's got Inter Milan on 13 points, Barcelona on 12, Liverpool on 12. They play tonight. Atalanta on 11 points. Atalanta were way down in 10th position at one point. But they've got a massive goal difference now, and that win has put them up into 4th position. Leverkusen are in 5th on 10 points. This is where it gets really interesting. Leverkusen are sitting on a plus goals of 6. Monaco are sitting on 10 points with a plus goal of 6. Arsenal are sitting on 10 points, who played last night, on a plus goal of 6. Sporting are sitting on 10 points with a plus goal of 3 in 8th position. If Celtic can score or win by 3 or more goals tonight, it's going to be a hard thing to do. Yes, I do know that. But if Celtic can win by a clear 3 goals, it can push us into that 8th position, depending on what the other teams do. But anyway, Brest are sitting on 10 points, on plus 3 points also. Dortmund are on 9 points. You'd expect them to win this evening. Bayern are sitting on 9 points. Aston Villa are sitting on 9 points. Atletico Madrid are sitting on 9 points. Milan are sitting on 9 points. Man City, what a result for them last night. They're on 8 points after drawing again in the Champions League. Juventus are on 7 points. Lille are on 7 points. And then it is Celtic on 7 points. If Celtic score more than 2 goals tonight, it will vastly pump us up that table. Not only will we sit on the 10-point mark, but it'll put us in and around the top 12 to 13 positions, I think, by the end of the game tonight. If Celtic can win by more, if the unthinkable was to happen tonight, and Celtic were to win by more than 3 goals, it would put us into a real good position with the last 3 games to go. It would definitely put us in a good position. And for me, for one, I think that the team now are secretly sitting behind closed doors in the hotel last night. The team and the manager would have been sitting in the lounge watching the games come through last night. And I wonder which game they watched. And they'll be sitting working out. You know, we win this tonight. We score a good couple of goals tonight. If we can win this by 2 or 3-0, do we have the strikers to do it? Yes, we do. Do we have the wide men to do it? Yes, we do. Do we have the midfield to take control of the game? Yes, we do. Do we have the defence that could be rock solid at Celtic Park? Yes, we do. We're in for a fantastic evening in football at Celtic Park, and one of the big news stories that are coming out is, for the first time ever, it will look, after the late drama, we should really talk about, we've done the Aberdeen bit, we've done that. I mean, Aberdeen draw 3-3 at Easter Road in complete meltdown. I mean, they just completely capitulated, didn't they? I mean, they were winning 2-1, Hibs then score in the last minute. Aberdeen then score again in the 95th minute or something, and then Aberdeen concede a goal 1 minute later. 1 minute later, the 97th minute. They're going to end up just stopping games in Scotland and just say, right, we're going to start, and you've only got 5 minutes to go. Because that's when teams have a go. The last 15 minutes, they're just going to do away with the 90 minutes in Scotland and go, right, we've got a 15-minute game, go. That's it. Simple as that. Go. But anyway, it does open up a little bit of breathway for. But the downside is it could allow Rangers to close the gap on Aberdeen this weekend, which isn't too favourable. Never mind about that. Let's go on to Celtic tonight. Celtic tonight will look like a European stage. They will have safety side nettings for the first time at Celtic Park. The safety nettings will be used in the section tomorrow night against Club Brugge for the very first time. The netting was installed after it was allowed. It was agreed by both Rangers, Sevco, the Rangers, who are now Sevco in disguise. And the Sevco in disguise, yes you are. Them and Celtic agreed to put in safety things in place to protect the fans, because let's face it, they're animals. The safety nettings were installed at Celtic Park earlier this year for obviously the crowd trouble. They've thrown things on an ongoing basis, which has been something that they deny and say never happened. Yeah, you've never freaking proof it happened. Yet we've got video evidence of it happening, and so be it. But they will be used tonight. For the very first time, so it'll give the stadium that little bit of a European feel to it. Anybody that goes to European away games knows that you get safety netting regularly at European away games, and you're sort of caged in a bit, and it'll just give it that little bit edge for the game tonight. And I think it'll be fantastic myself. I just think it'll just get the fans that little bit more buzz that there's something different going on inside the stadium, which will be absolutely fantastic. And when that music comes on, and the banners are unfolding, section 111, and the display goes up, the noise will be unbelievable as the music gets turned up by the DJ for the Champions League music as the players come onto the pitch. The roar for Celtic Park will be unbelievable. It will be absolutely unbelievable, and let's hope it puts the fear of death into the Club Brugge players. Anyway, let's move on from the game tonight, because there's a little talk about transfer, and we're going to talk about a predicted lineup in just a second or so. But there's been a little bit of a transfer talk after yesterday's media conferences by Brendan Rodgers. Let me just get we'll get rid of the league table and we'll get Brendan Rodgers up. Yeah, because there's the man himself. He was looking nice and cheery, and that was at the moment where a young reporter was stumbling on his words, and he told him that he's like, you're awfully nervous, mate, calm down, you're only talking to me, it's no life or death the scenario here, you're just talking to me, you're talking about football, that's it. That was basically that's what he should have said. But Brendan Rodgers laughed off the situation, which was good of him, and it's good to see that you do get the younger generation cutting their teeth through Celtic media, and even though they're as nervous as possible, and sometimes they ask just crazy ass questions. But anyway, let's get to the point. When it comes to the next transfer window, it's been suggested that the manager is looking for 2 positions to be filled, and one of them is not Greg Taylor, which I think is troubling if this news is true, because Greg Taylor, is Greg Taylor ultimately going to sign a deal? But I think that the manager will know the positions that he wants to fill, but ultimately he's earmarked 2 positions. Celtic sitting with some fantastic amount of cash in the bank, 77 million and more. The boss wants another striker in at Celtic Park. Celtic have impressed this season with Kyogo, not hitting the heights that he did in the first season. And Brendan Rodgers will look at the statistics, and let's look at it honestly, right? With the amount of chances that both our strikers are missing, and anyone, with the crosses that we put into the box, and a good, could you imagine a Lee Griffiths type player? Griff scores 40, 50 goals a season. Could you imagine a Griff type player getting the service that these 2 wide men provide at Celtic? Your striker would be putting in an absolute barrel load of goals. An absolute barrel load of goals. Adam Meada was brought in to offer up something different from Celtic, brought in on loan last in January, just 11 months ago now. And he offered something different to Celtic at the time, and everyone thought he was a great player and a great piece of value, and a great addition to the squad. And he did help us win a couple of trophies last year, and he definitely helped us win the Scottish Cup against that lot. But when you look at the chances that we have missed between himself and Kyogo Furuhashi, it's no wonder that the manager, who did say, if you go back to the interviews that he did in America during pre-season, at the beginning of the American tour, he did say he was looking for 2 strikers to come in the last transfer window. He obviously feels that we need something just a little bit different between Kyogo Furuhashi and Adam Ida, and it's someone that's probably going to be a lot more prolific. Is it the end of the road for Adam Ida or Kyogo Furuhashi? No, it's not, but what it does is it just gives Brendan the squad that he knows and requires for Champions League level. Not only Champions League, but to make sure that we are fighting on all fronts when it comes to the Champions League, the League Cup that we'll win in December, the League and the Scottish Cup that we are still in. He wants a younger player. He admitted back in August, and he spoke about the fact that we had lost Rocco Vata, and Rocco Vata was going to be our third choice striker. Now, it's obviously Brendan doesn't see anybody coming through the B system now that can step up, unfortunately. But then he is also, it's been suggested that he's also looking for a left-sided winger. So what does that say to Lewis Palmer? That says that Lewis Palmer, it's like that door is opening and Lewis Palmer could be leaving in the December, who has failed to impress the manager. It's a strange one with Lewis Palmer, because when it gets to international football, he seems to put on a different set of boots. Lewis Palmer seems to put on a different set of boots, and some players are just suited for South American football, and when it comes to the European stage, Brendan Rodgers has a lot of experience of picking out players from South America and them being a very good success over his career. You can think of one in the name of Luis Suarez at Liverpool in his earlier days as management. So he knows, and he knows the traits of South American players. It's not as if it's a stab in the dark and he's going to try and find a Japanese player and he knows nothing about the Japanese market. But when it comes to it, I think that Lewis Palmer is just not doing it enough. He's not. There's something wrong when he gets on the ball at Celtic. He had a fantastic start to his Celtic career. You'd seen glimpses of him, what he could possibly achieve. But let's face it, he's nowhere near Nico Kuhn's standard. He's nowhere near Dyson Maida's standard on the other side. And trying to displace Dyson, he's just not going to do it at all. The fact that James Forrest has been given a contract for a further 2 years, who plays in the same position. Like, James Forrest isn't going to get a game every week either. That's just to make James a one-club man. Celtic did the right thing, if you ask me, in that respect with James Forrest. You know, he's been a fantastic servant for the club. Why wouldn't you make the player that is on the road? And I mean, bygone days, Celtic would have released him. I mean, if this was back in the 1980s or something, and James was coming to the end of his contract, he wouldn't have got the extra 2 years, and Celtic wouldn't have cared if he was, ready to beat Bobby Lennox. It's just they didn't care back then. But I've got to admit that Brendan and the board see James as a fantastic asset in and around the dressing room. The experience that he has with all these years of being at Celtic, coming up through the youth system, that's valuable information that Brendan Rodgers can use to try and motivate the younger players in the next couple of seasons and get them to come through. And if we can get James to just work with the younger players as he runs down his contract in 2 years' time, and don't forget, he'll still get games. James Forrest will still get game time, because Brendan Rodgers will want to make sure that he pumps up his little medal tally so that he's sitting with a wardrobe like Jesus. I mean, James's trophy cabinet must be absolutely just something else to look at with these medals. But anyway, we digress. The manager is looking to bring in another left-sided, which means that the Honduran Lewis Palmer could be sold in the next transfer window. We knew in the summer that he was looking at another striker, a younger striker. Could it be the fact? Could he go for Kidsford? That rumour is still going about, and Kidsford has said that he does want to leave Brøndby. He said it's now time. He wants to leave Brøndby. Celtic have sent scouts over there the last couple of weeks to see the player. Allegedly, there's no been any proof about it, but allegedly the Celtic were sending over scouts. Right, well, Brendan Rodgers was having a fantastic day in the press conference yesterday, and he was all smiles. Cameron Carter-Vickers was all smiles also. at this prospect of reaching the target that they've nearly had. And meanwhile, the orange tears. That's so sweet, that orange juice. It's from the trees outside. Just crushed it this morning. It's absolutely brilliant. Not like the bitter oranges you get back home in Scotland. Right, anyway, let's go into the team predictions for the game this evening. There will be a live 1 hour and 15 minutes, 1 hour and 25 minutes before kickoff, as always, on the channel. We do that so we can get the team news as it is released by Celtic, and we can see how excited that we all are. So make sure you join us around about an hour and a half, an hour and 25 minutes before kickoff. When we see the line out coming out from Celtic Park, and hopefully this number will have went. That's all over the place today. This number will have went up slightly. Can we get I'm so honoured. I am so honoured that I'm at 19,929. And seriously, thank you to everyone. And this channel is just it's such a absolutely lovely community of people. It is such an absolutely lovely community of people that just want to support Celtic, and things that are going on in the background within the community, people who want to make a change to people's lives and everything. It's just everything that Celtic should be about. And I am honoured. I am completely honoured that I get to sit here and do this every day, and unbelievable. Anyway, let's go on to the team predictions for tonight. Now, I have said that young Alex Bailly might get him with a chance, but after thinking about it last night and seeing some of the results, Brendan Rodgers might be wanting to go for experience, but the closer it does get to December, I think Alex Bailly will start getting some more game time. But anyway, at the back, I think it's going to be as you were. I think that at the back you're going to have Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alistair Johnston and Austin Trusty, who are becoming like thick as thieves. They are becoming good partnership, and it's nothing to do with what might have happened at international level for Liam Scales. It's all to do with the fact that Austin Trusty is about 2 yards quicker than Liam Scales. That is it. That is the only difference. Brendan Rodgers admitted it himself to Charlie Mulgrew that it's fine margins, and the fine margins in this case is Trusty's about 2 yards quicker in getting back than Liam Scales. So Cameron Carter-Vickers, Alistair Johnston, and Liam Scales will be the normal ones. Will Greg Taylor get in with his experience? Some people have been saying that, look, Greg Taylor sometimes is found wanted in the Champions League. Will the manager take a huge step forward and put his trust in Alex Bailly, who has done reasonably well when he came on in Champions League games? You have to say, there's one game this season that he done really, really well when Greg Taylor was dropped. He was injured, wasn't he? He was injured. Yeah, that was correct. He was injured. He was injured. So, will he go back to Alex Bailly for the Champions League games, because that's the level that he ultimately wants to play at? He'll be looking at his Barcelona team last night, going from top spot into second position all in the space of minutes last night. And Rio Hatate will be in the middle of the park with Callum McGregor, as always, taking on that Celtic armband. Where's mine? There, it's there. Yep, there's my Celtic armband that was donated to the channel. That is Scott Brown's old armband. Yep. It's even got... No, it's Lennon's, sorry. It's not Brownie's, it's Lennon's. It's Lennon's. It's Neil Lennon's from 2003. Look, Neil Lennon written on it. Yeah, it is Neil Lennon's armband. I'm so honoured to wear that. And to have that. Because if you look back this channel, the day that Neil Lennon was made manager was my very first video for Celtic. And it's just to think this channel has been going that long. Do you know what I mean? And it's only the last couple of years that it's really come to prominence. But anyway, just shows you the hard work pays off. In the middle of the park, will it be Paolo Bernardo for his European experience over and above Arne Engels? Arne Engels, who was kind of slated in his home country for his last international game, said that he was found wanting, disappeared within the game. But Paolo Bernardo at international levels has been scoring goals. Yes, under 21 Portuguese captain has been in fine form for his national team at under 21 level. He's been... we need to get Engels the game time, but the man that joined in the summer would be thinking he's going to get more game time than what he's had at Celtic. Will his experience at this level for the Portuguese national team Will that make a statement to Brendan Rodgers to bring him in just to change it up slightly at Celtic Park this evening, or will he come on in the second half and be fantastic as he always is? He's here on a 5-year contract, so I think that he knows that it is a squad game, and he knows that one or two of the players in midfield may not be here next season. A bit like when Matt O'Reilly had to sit on the bench and warm the bench when Aaron Moy was at Celtic. So it'll be a big shout between Paulo Bernardo and Arne Engels, and it'll also be a shout between Greg Taylor and the little man from Barcelona, Alex Baye. It'll be a shout between those two, and Brendan Rodgers will make that decision, and in Brendan Rodgers we trust. Up front, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? The team speaks for itself. It's going to be Nico Kuhn on one side and Dyson Maida on the other. Two unbelievably fantastic players. Celtic are finally building a squad. It's not just a team. I mean, over the years we've bought a striker that's stand out. There's one player that stands out, and that player always ultimately has been sold. There's maybe a player in midfield when you go back to Brendan's first time. There's players in midfield that were standout. There was always one player and then the team was a standout. But now, finally, Celtic have managed to get a full team of almost standout players. A team that actually looks as if it deserves to be playing at the highest level in the Champions League, which is absolutely fantastic. And with the money that we're sitting with in the bank, it can only go one way, and that is up. That's for sure. We're never going to go the other way and start losing money. Can we get up to that position to get the last 8? I so friggin' hope so. Anyway, make sure you join us this evening for the countdown to the game and to see what team Brendan Rodgers, the manager, does put out tonight. It'll be a fantastic game. If you're going to the game, have an absolutely fantastic evening. And whatever you're doing, if you're watching it beforehand, make sure that you jump on the live with me and just have a fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the